All right, more weekend news and views. Let's go domestically now. Let's turn our attention to the state of Virginia, where we have several affiliates here tonight, Jen. What's the latest in the gubernatorial race there?
I have a new political proverb, Steve. Friends don't let friends hire GOP hack political consultants, nor allow them to sit in the seat of rhinos. And I say all that to say this. Ken Cuccinelli was one of our brightest political conservative shining stars. I mean, you look at his political resume, and it includes taking on Obama's EPA and defeating them. You know, many people remember him from I think it was in 2011 when Mike Huckabee had him on his show with two other state attorneys general, and they were asking questions of the GOP nominees. And people don't remember what the GOP nominees said. They were like, "Who's this guy? And who's this guy asking questions? When's he?" That was the first time I said, "Who is this guy? And why isn't he running for president?" And I think I asked you that. Mm-hmm. You know, he came on our show not too awful long after he announced that he was going to run for governor. And that was when he said that, you know, if you have got to get to the point that you believe in your principles so much that you are going to be willing to go to jail, because that's the environment that is happening.
And after he said that on the show, national media wrote stories
Absolutely.
about that.
And he didn't back down. He never once apologized for saying what he said. And we had this rising political, liberty-minded, constitutional conservative that was going to run for the Republican, to be the Republican governor in Virginia. And then his opponent was named as Terry McAuliffe. Terry McAuliffe that's got so many different fraud cases and political crap in his wake that when I did a search, I didn't have enough places to put the links in the story that I wrote this morning. There are that many fraud cases open right now regarding Terry McAuliffe and some of his business dealings and things that he's done in his past, okay? That's Ken Cuccinelli's opponent. So you explain to me why it is that with 2 months to go before this vote, he is down 45 to 38. Ken Cuccinelli is to Terry McAuliffe. I've got a little bit of a theory.
Well, here's just look at the math. If you're down 7 points to a guy who only has 45%.
With only 2 months to go.
That tells me that it's really more about you. We're not talking you're down 7 points and it's 52-45.
But what changed?
That tells me you have not given them a vision or a reason to vote for you, and that guy's only ahead just because he's not you. That it's really not he's beating you. It's that you haven't given people a compelling reason why they should vote for you instead.
And to me, that doesn't make any sense. He's right on all the issues. He's got major victories.
He's won a statewide election in the state already as the attorney general. So he's already won statewide elected office.
He's that guy. But then what did he do? He has started to hitch his wagon to the establishment. The soul-sucking GOP establishment that does more to kill good candidates than the Democrat side dreams of. He's hired somebody for his political team that has 3 major losses as his political resume. He hired somebody on his team, a political consultant, a debate coach that worked with who? John McCain, Michelle Bachmann, and Mitt Romney. And Mitt Romney fired him.
And the reason Mitt Romney fired him, his name is Brett O'Donnell. The reason Mitt Romney fired him is because after he helped him whip Newt Gingrich in the Florida debate, him and his cronies went to the conservative media to make sure he got all the credit for it. And the Romney campaign said, hey,
not having any of that.
This isn't about you. You're not running. It's about us. This isn't a consultant-driven campaign, although it turned out to be Stuart Stevens' consultant-driven campaign once they won the nomination. But they fired him because they thought he was a cancer.
And now over the weekend, I find out who else are they hitching their wagon to? Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush.
Jeb Bush, which tells me he thinks he needs to become George Allen to win in Virginia. Did George Allen win in Virginia last year?
Nope.
I want to tell you a little story about my experience with Brett O'Donnell when we come back. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Steve Deace.
I like you.
We're back. We're nationwide. The Steve Deace Show.
Because of what I do and where I do it, I would imagine I have interviewed more political candidates over the last 5 years than maybe any other national conservative talk show host in America has for various offices. Yet 2 years ago in our studio, I saw something I have never, ever seen, ever.
I was there. I
not
saw it
either
too.
running
So
for
she.
not running for dog catcher, not running for Senate, not running for president. I saw a presidential candidate named Michelle Bachmann literally being passed notes by a campaign aide who was telling her how to answer questions that we were asking her live on the air.
And what really bothered me
And his
was
name was, by the way,
Brett O'Donnell.
Brett O'Donnell,
That's
who
why we know.
works for,
Ken Cuccinelli.
who was fired by Mitt Romney. The people on the Bachmann campaign, when he came in after they won the straw poll, thought that he was such a cancer. They used to joke to us that they were taking pools when he would fly into Iowa about who would pick him up and then drop him off in a ravine to be lost, so that no one could ever find him ever again. His previous claim to fame, working for McCain, who lost. And this is, see, the biggest problem you have here is that the professional political class in the Republican Party is not us. And so even when you get candidates who are us, like a Michelle Bachmann or a Ken Cuccinelli, and understand that what a Brett O'Donnell is telling her to say is nothing that you actually want to hear.
No. It's platitudes.
It's all lukewarm, pablum, platitudes, mushmouth.
Moderate.
Nothing.
Reach out to the quote-unquote independents and Democrats.
If you want to know where that whole Michelle Bachmann cheerleader mantra, make Obama a one-term president, came from, now you know. I mean, I saw Michelle Bachmann in private settings before he came on board, where it was like listening to Margaret Thatcher, man.
Yep.
All of a sudden, guys like him come on board, and everything that you liked about her, gone. And we see this pattern with the consultants over and over and over again. It's because the professional consultant class in the GOP is not us. And so what happens is we get guys from the grassroots or gals who run, and then they need a professional campaign apparatus to help them get become credible in a campaign. But all the people that work in that arena are not grassroots activist movement conservatives. They're all the professional class, establishment class of the Republican Party. And see, they don't care about you. You're just a meal ticket. And what they're concerned about is if a Ken Cuccinelli says anything that's too radical, then that means he'll taint me and I won't get another job. You're just a mark, man. He's a car salesman and you just drove up on the lot. Most of them don't really care. They just want to make sure they sell the car and meet their quota, man. And you're a mark. That's who candidates like Ken Cuccinelli and Michelle Bachmann are to people like Brett O'Donnell. Seen it with my own eyes. All three of us have seen it time and time and time again. We've seen this playbook before. Yep. Look very carefully at who your movement conservatives surround themselves with.
Be very careful, Rand Paul fans, right now of who he's surrounding himself with. This is a very sad and sordid tale. It's a cautionary one, too.
Right. He may not be like them, but his money is going to fund them and to pay them for the bad advice.
And understand that they like you even less than they like Democrats. And that's the advice they give candidates like Ken Cuccinelli.
You're listening to Steve Deace.
I like you.